In the quiet village of Umuokoro, there lived a man named Nnamdi. He was known for one strange habit. At funerals, while others wept and mourned, Nnamdi laughed. His laughter wasn't nervous or polite. It was loud, full, and joyful, as if he had just heard the funniest joke. The villagers couldn't understand it. How could anyone laugh at such a sorrowful time? Children avoided him, and adults whispered behind his back. Some believed he was cursed, while others thought he was simply mad. But Nnamdi never explained. He only smiled and walked away. One morning, the village awoke to heartbreaking news. Elder Obina, the wisest and kindest man in Umuokoro, had passed away. Obina had been loved by everyone. He fed the hungry, made peace among neighbors, and cared for those in need. His death cast a shadow over the entire village. Preparations began for a grand funeral. But deep inside, the villagers worried about one thing. Would Nnamdi show up? And if he did, would he laugh? On the day of the funeral, the people gathered beneath a large tent in the village square. Everyone wore black, their faces heavy with sorrow. Elder Obina's family sat at the front, quietly weeping, while the priest rose to begin the ceremony. And then Nnamdi arrived. He stood at the back in his usual wrinkled shirt and dusty sandals. The villagers stiffened, holding their breath. As the priest spoke of Elder Obina's good deeds, a sound cut through the silence. Nnamdi's laughter, loud, echoing like thunder. The mourners froze in shock. Obina's son, Chike, leapt to his feet, his face burning with rage. "How dare you laugh at my father's funeral?" he shouted. Angry murmurs rose from the crowd. Some called for Nnamdi to be dragged out, but he didn't stop. His laughter grew stronger, his hands clutching his stomach as tears rolled down his face. Chike stormed toward him, fists clenched. "What is wrong with you?" he yelled. "Why do you laugh when we are mourning?" The villagers pressed closer, waiting for Nnamdi's answer. Slowly, he wiped his tears of laughter and spoke softly. "I am not mocking your father. I laugh because I see what you cannot." Gasps rippled through the crowd. "What do you mean?" Chike demanded, but Nnamdi only shook his head. "You would not understand." Without another word, he turned and walked away, leaving silence behind him. That night, and for many days after, the village buzzed with whispers. "Why would Nnamdi say such a thing?" one woman asked. "Perhaps he knows something we do not," another replied. Some believed Nnamdi carried a secret. Others were certain he had lost his mind. But Chike could not forget the humiliation. His anger burned within him. "He disrespected my father," Chike muttered to himself. "I will not forgive him." Chike was determined. "I will find out what he meant, no matter what," he told himself. He began asking questions about Nnamdi's past, hoping to uncover the truth behind his strange laughter. But before Chike could learn much, tragedy struck the village again. A young woman named Amaka, known for her kindness and beauty, suddenly died. The villagers were heartbroken, their grief overwhelming. Amaka's mother cried bitterly, insisting her daughter's death did not feel like an accident. Rumors of foul play spread quickly. A funeral was planned the next day, and whispers filled the air. Will Nnamdi come? And if he does, will he laugh again? The villagers gathered under heavy, cloudy skies. Amaka's family sat in the front row, weeping as the priest began to pray. And then, as before, Nnamdi appeared. He stood at the back, his face calm and unreadable. For a moment, it seemed he might stay silent. But soon, his laughter broke the air, loud, unsettling, echoing across the crowd like an eerie storm. Amaka's mother screamed, her voice sharp with pain. "Why are you laughing at my daughter's death?" The people turned toward Nnamdi, furious and confused, yet he did not stop. Finally, he lowered his laughter, looked directly at Amaka's mother, and spoke in a grave voice. "I do not laugh at your daughter. I laugh because the truth is near." The villagers gasped. Murmurs filled the air. "What truth?" someone demanded. "Stop speaking in riddles," another shouted. But Nnamdi said nothing more. He simply turned and walked away, leaving the people even more bewildered. Chike, however, watched closely, his anger growing hotter. He knows something, Chike thought. "I will make him tell me." That evening, As the sun set and the air grew cool, Chike followed Nnamdi to a small hut at the edge of the village. Nnamdi was sitting outside, gazing at the darkening sky when Chike approached. "Tell me what you meant," Chike demanded. "What truth are you talking about?" Nnamdi sighed, then looked directly at him. "The dead do not rest until their stories are told," he said. Chike frowned, confused. "What stories?" Nnamdi's face grew serious. "Your father and Amaka were killed, Chike, and the truth will not stay hidden." Chike froze, his heart pounding. "What are you saying?" he whispered. "My father poisoned? Amaka murdered?" Nnamdi nodded solemnly. "The dead speak, Chike. I hear their cries. Elder Obina and Amaka's spirits are restless. They demand justice." Chike shook his head in disbelief. "This is madness. You expect me to believe you can hear the dead." Nnamdi sighed again. "You don't have to believe me, but the truth will reveal itself. Listen carefully, Chike. You will find out too." Shaken, Chike returned to the village, keeping the conversation to himself. Yet his mind burned with questions. Could Nnamdi be telling the truth? The villagers, meanwhile, gossiped endlessly. Why does he laugh and speak in riddles? Perhaps he is cursed by the gods. No, he sees beyond the living. He must have powers. The pressure on Nnamdi grew, but he remained calm and silent. Chike, unable to forget Nnamdi's words, began to investigate. He asked questions about his father's final days. One evening, he spoke with an old friend of Obina's named Umuokoro. The old man hesitated, then said quietly, "Your father wasn't himself in his last week. He often complained about a bitter taste in his food." Chike's heart raced. He had always believed his father died naturally, but now doubt began to creep in. His investigation led him to Ataku, the village herbalist, who had prepared medicines for Obina. "Did my father come to you before he died?" Chike asked. Attica nodded. "Yes. He came complaining of stomach pain. I gave him herbs to ease it, but..." She hesitated. "But what?" Chike pressed. Her eyes lowered. "It felt like poison," she whispered. Chike's eyes widened in horror. "Poison?" Attica nodded slowly. "I warned him to be careful, but it was already too late." But it was too late. Chike's heart sank. As he investigated his father's death, he began hearing more rumors about Amaka's tragic end. Her closest friend, Ebera, told him something chilling. "Amaka told me she was afraid before she died," Ebera whispered. "She said she discovered something about someone in the village, but she didn't tell me who." Chike's blood ran cold. "What did she find out?" he asked urgently. Ebera shook her head. "I don't know. Only that it was dangerous. She said she needed to speak with the elders. That was the last time I saw her." Chike realized Amaka's death might not have been an accident. Desperate for answers, he returned to Nnamdi's hut late one evening. Nnamdi sat outside, humming to himself when Chike arrived. "You were right," Chike said, his voice heavy with frustration. "There is more to my father's death than Amaka's than I thought." Nnamdi nodded, his face calm. "I told you, the dead don't lie. But now you must decide. Will you uncover the truth, or will you let it stay buried?" Chike clenched his fists. "I need to know the truth," he said firmly. Nnamdi's smile was faint, but his eyes were sharp. "Then listen carefully. The truth you seek is dangerous, Chike. There are people in this village who would do anything to keep their secrets hidden." Chike frowned. "Are you saying someone in the village killed my father and Amaka?" Nnamdi nodded. "Yes, and they won't stop at anything to protect themselves. You must be careful." Chike felt a storm of anger and fear rise inside him. "Who are they?" he demanded. Nnamdi shook his head slowly. "That is for you to find out, but be prepared for what comes next." That night, Chike could not sleep. Nnamdi's words echoed in his mind, and his heart burned with determination. "I will find the truth, no matter the cost." Early the next morning, he gathered his father's old friends. Most of them denied knowing anything unusual, but one man, Ucha, finally spoke up. "Your father argued with someone shortly before he died. Ucha revealed." Chike leaned forward. "Who was it?" Ucha hesitated, then whispered, "It was your uncle, Izena." Chike's stomach tightened. His uncle. Obina's younger brother, had always been close to the family. The thought of betrayal made him sick. Why would Uncle Azena argue with my father? Chike asked. Ucha shrugged. I don't know, but it was heated. They met in secret, and your father seemed deeply upset afterward. Chike's heart pounded. If Uncle Azena was involved, I must know the truth. The next morning, he went to Azena's home. His uncle was outside, sharpening a machete when Chike arrived. Uncle, I need to speak with you, Chike said, his voice steady but tense. Azena looked up, surprised. What troubles you, my boy? Chike didn't hesitate. I know you argued with my father before he died. What was it about? Azena's face darkened. He slammed the machete onto the table. That is none of your concern, he said sharply. It is my concern. Chike pressed, stepping closer. Did you have anything to do with his death? Azena's eyes flared with anger. How dare you accuse me of such a thing? Your father and I had disagreements, yes, but I love him like a brother. Then tell me the truth, Chike demanded. Azena sighed heavily and sat down. We fought over land, he admitted. He wanted me to sell my portion, but I refused. That's all. I would never harm him. But something in his uncle's voice felt off. Frustrated and confused, Chike returned to Nnamdi. I confronted my uncle, but he denied everything, Chike said. Nnamdi only nodded, as if he had expected it. The guilty often deny their sins until they are forced to face the truth, he murmured. What do you mean? Chike asked. Nnamdi's eyes grew distant. I have seen it, Chike. The poison was not given all at once. It was slipped into your father's food slowly, over time, and the one responsible did not act alone. Chike's heart sank. Then who helped them? He asked. Determined, Chike went to the kitchen where his father's meals had always been prepared. He spoke with Ada, the family's longtime housemaid. At first, Ada was nervous, avoiding his questions. But when Chike pressed her, she finally broke down. I don't know much, she said tearfully, but your uncle often came to house and insisted on preparing special meals for your father. He said it was a family recipe. Chi's eyes narrowed. Did my father know about this? Ada shook her head. He trusted him. Chi realized he couldn't solve this mystery alone. He needed someone who knew the village's deepest secrets. So he went to the old village storyteller, Mama Nkechi, who had seen many things in her lifetime. Mama, I need your help, he said, sitting beside her on her veranda. She listened quietly as he explained everything. When he finished, she nodded slowly. I've heard whispers, my son. Your uncle has always been jealous of your father's success. If he is involved, you must tread carefully. He's dangerous and clever. While speaking to Mama Nkechi, Chi learned something surprising. Amaka was close to your father, Mama Nkechi said. She often helped with errands and heard many of his secrets. Chi's heart raced. Do you think Amaka knew about the poison? Mama Nkechi nodded. It's possible. If she suspected your uncle, it could explain why she was killed. Chi clenched his fist. Then Amaka died because she tried to protect my father, he said, his voice heavy with guilt. I won't let her death be in vain. Fueled by this revelation, Chi confronted Een once more. I know you poisoned my father, he shouted, and I know Amaka discovered the truth. Een's face went pale. He stammered, You have no proof. Chi stepped closer, eyes burning. I will find proof, even if I have to dig up every secret in this village. Een's expression hardened. Be careful, boy. You don't know who you're accusing. But Chi knew he had struck a nerve. I'm not afraid of the truth, he said firmly. As Chi dug deeper, whispers spread through the village. Some supported him, believing he was brave for seeking justice. Others muttered that he was stirring up trouble. Why can't he let the dead rest? One villager said. Even Chi's mother begged him to stop. Your father is gone, my son. Leave it alone before you get hurt. But Chi shook his head. If I don't fight for the truth, who will? One night, Chi found a note slipped under his door. Stop asking questions, or you will regret it. His hands trembled as he held the paper, but he refused to be intimidated. The next day, he went to Nnamdi and showed him the note. They're trying to scare me, Chi said. Nnamdi nodded calmly. They fear the truth coming out, but you must be strong. The spirits of the dead are on your side. A chill ran down Chi's spine, but his resolve only deepened. I won't stop. Not now. Realizing he couldn't face this alone, Chi turned to Nnamdi not just for advice, but for guidance. I need your help, Chi said. Whoever killed my father and Amaka is dangerous, but I won't back down. Nnamdi's face remained calm. The truth is a heavy burden, but together we will carry it. Then, leaning forward, Nnamdi shared what his visions had revealed. Your father and Amaka's spirits both point to the same person, he said gravely. Chi's heart raced. Is it really my uncle? Nnamdi hesitated before answering. Yes, Ian is guilty, but he did not act alone. Chi frowned, his mind spinning. Who else would do such a thing? Nnamdi looked at him with sad eyes. Someone close to you. Chi's breath caught. His family was small, his mother, his cousins, and Ada the housemaid. Who could betray us like this? He whispered. Nnamdi placed a hand on his shoulder. You must find out, but tread carefully. The guilty will not confess easily, and the danger is near. Determined. Chi decided to question Ada again. This time, he watched her closely for any signs of guilt. Ada, you've worked for my family for years, he began. Did you ever notice anything strange about my uncle's visits? Ada looked nervous, avoiding his eyes. I already told you. He liked to cook for your father, she said. Chi leaned closer. Did you ever see him put anything in the food? He pressed. Ada's hands trembled. I don't know, she stammered. Chi's suspicions deepened. What are you hiding? He demanded. Finally, Ada broke down in tears. I didn't mean for anyone to die, she cried. Your uncle threatened me. He said if I didn't let him into the kitchen, he would hurt my family. Chi's chest tightened. So you knew he was poisoning my father? He asked. Ada nodded, sobbing. I tried to stop him, but he always found a way. I'm so sorry, Chike. Chi felt a storm of anger and sadness. Ada had been forced into helping, but she had still betrayed his family. Why didn't you tell me sooner? He asked, his voice breaking. Now that Chi had her confession, he knew what must be done. He needed proof to confront Ain publicly. Together, he and Nnamdi formed a plan. We will gather the elders and expose him in front of everyone, Nnamdi suggested. But we must catch him off guard. Chi nodded. I will invite him to my house for dinner. We'll make him think everything is normal, then reveal the truth. Nnamdi agreed. The spirits of your father and Amaka will guide us. For the first time, Chi felt a flicker of hope. This ends now, he said firmly. The next evening, Chi invited his uncle to dinner. Ain arrived smiling warmly, as if nothing were wrong. It's good to see you, my boy, he said. Chi forced himself to smile back. I wanted us to spend time together, Uncle. As they ate, Chi carefully led the conversation toward his father's death. I still think about what happened, he said. Ain's smile faltered. It was a tragedy, he muttered, avoiding Chi's gaze. Do you think anyone could have hurt him? Chi asked. Ain's hand shook slightly. Why would you ask that? He replied. Chi stood, his voice steady. Because I know the truth, Uncle. You poisoned my father. Ain froze, his face turning pale. What are you talking about? He stammered. Nnamdi stepped out from the shadows, holding Ada's written confession. We have proof, he said coldly. Your accomplice has already confessed. The room fell silent. Ain realized he had been caught. His shoulders sagged. It wasn't supposed to happen like this, he muttered. I only wanted to weaken him, not kill him. Chi's anger boiled over. And Amaka? Did you kill her too? Ain broke down, his voice shaking. Yes, it was me. She overheard me and Ada talking about the poison. She threatened to tell the elders. I had to silence her. Chi felt a wave of grief and fury crash through him. You betrayed your own family for greed, he shouted. Ain hung his head. I didn't want this to happen, he said weakly. Nnamdi stepped forward. The spirits of the dead saw everything. And now the truth is out. Chi clenched his fist. You will face justice for what you've done. The next day, Chi gathered the village elders and revealed everything. He presented Ada's confession and forced Ain to repeat his own words in front of the crowd. The villagers were shocked and furious. "How could you do this to your own brother?" one elder demanded. Ain had no answer. The elders declared their judgment. Ain would be banished from the village, and Ada would also be cast out. "You will never harm anyone here again," the chief elder said firmly. Chi watched as his uncle and Ada were taken away, feeling a strange mix of relief and sorrow. Later, he found Nnamdi sitting under a tree, laughing softly to himself. "Why are you laughing now?" Chi asked. Nnamdi smiled. "Because justice has been served. Your father and Amaka can finally rest in peace." Chi nodded, feeling a heavy weight lift from his shoulders. "I couldn't have done it without you." Nnamdi shook his head. "The truth was always there. You only needed to see it." For the first time, Chi understood why Nnamdi laughed. It wasn't madness. It was relief. The relief that comes when truth finally prevails. The village slowly began to heal. People stopped whispering about Nnamdi and began to respect him. He was strange, yes, but he was right, one elder admitted. Chike focused on rebuilding his family's honor and carrying on his father's legacy. In memory of Elder Obina and Amaka, he planted a tree, vowing their stories would never be forgotten. For the first time in many years, the villagers stood united by truth. Life returned to normal, but the memory of what had happened would never fade. One morning, Chike went to visit Nnamdi, only to find his hut empty. He was gone. Where could he have gone? Chike wondered, but deep down he knew Nnamdi had fulfilled his purpose in the Muro, bringing justice to the dead and peace to the living. As Chike stood outside the empty hut, a faint echo of laughter drifted on the breeze. He smiled and whispered, "Thank you, Nnamdi." The man who laughed at funerals was gone, but his legacy would remain in the hearts of the villagers forever.